What's up, everybody? Welcome back into our 2016 Stanley Cup Championship Memories Roundtable. This is episode 2 of a two-part series looking back at the final 2 victories in that 2016 Stanley Cup Championship run by the Pittsburgh Penguins. We have 3 members of that team with us right now: Conor Sheary, Bryan Rust, and Matt Murray. I'm Josh Getzoff. Hope everyone out there is staying safe, staying healthy, and we're going to distract you from everything going on in the world with some trips down memory lane here right now. So, guys, again, appreciate you all taking the time. Hope everyone's still on the right path and getting ready to hopefully return to some hockey action in real time in the near future. But in the meantime, let's look back in the past. And when we left things last week, you guys were up 2-0 on San Jose, courtesy of Shear's overtime goal in game number 2 to give you that 2-0 series lead. And then it was off to San Jose, off to California, guys. Matt, I want to start with you with this one. When I say Stanley Cup final in the Shark Tank, what kind of memories come to mind as far as going in there and playing those contests?
Yeah, that's a great question. That was my first time going to San Jose in general. I had never played there before, and I'd heard a lot about it. I had heard that the atmosphere was pretty crazy, and the fans are loud, and I heard that they were going to have those like wristbands that were new that it would like light up the whole building. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I was just excited. I remember the practice before that game. I just went out and looked at the rink, and I was just kind of picturing what it was going to be like for the game, and it was exactly what I expected. Super loud, really good atmosphere, and just an awesome place to play.
Just kind of along the same lines as Murph, that when we first got in there for Game 3, that building was rocking. I think we all expected that. That's kind of what we had all been told, and it was true in every sense of the word.
Yeah, it's just it's a little bit of a smaller building, so it gets pretty loud in there, and it has that old building effect where it seems to just echo every time there's a loud cheer. It's just it was a pretty cool environment to play in front of.
Murray, I have to ask you, because you led the team obviously out on the ice in Game 3. All 3 of you had never played there before. I did some research on that before the Stanley Cup final. Were you aware of the step down when you come on the ice? Because it's kind of an awkward little drop-off there when you first come out.
Yeah, somebody had warned me about that. I can't remember who it was, but before practice the day before, somebody had mentioned it to me, and just to be aware of it, because it's probably a good foot or so more than what we're used to. So yeah, that was pretty crazy, especially when you're so nervous before the game and your legs are a little shaky and you got to take that big jump. But yeah, it's kind of cool too. I kind of enjoyed it, honestly.
Were you guys worried about tripping, Rust or Sheary?
I didn't even know about it till we got on the ice for practice that day before, and I think I probably almost went down. I was, but no. Come game time, I think I was ready for it.
Yeah, I had a warning too. I forget who told me, but I feel like every time I go back to San Jose now, I tell the young guys, I'm like, hey, there's about a 5-foot drop off when you get on the ice, so just watch for it.
Yeah, it was fun to watch you guys come out, obviously, and deal with everything that keep playing in the Shark Tank. And as we look at Game 3, you guys were able to score first in that game again. It was a theme for you guys throughout this series. You get a goal from Ben Lovejoy, but ultimately lose 3-2 in overtime. That was back-to-back overtime games. You had the cross-country flight. From what you guys remember, Conor, we can start with you here. Where were you guys at kind of physically, mentally at that point? Up 2-1 in the series still, but as I mentioned, back-to-back overtime games. The most recent one hadn't gone your way. San Jose maybe with a little bit of confidence from that one as well.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, between traveling cross-country, you have to take 2 days off, so it seemed like forever between games when you had to go there or come back to Pitt. And I remember that game, I don't think we played. I think it was a pretty tight game, tightly played. I think it could have gone either way. Obviously, it went to overtime, so it could have. But then taking that one, I think it was just after that one, it was just the same as the first 2 games. We were just focused on the next one, and we knew we wanted to get one when we were in San Jose at least, and come home with a chance to win. So that was kind of our mindset going into Game 4.
When you guys look back at that, I guess that gap in those practice days between Games 3 and Game 4, Rusty, one thing that I remember you guys talking about, and I actually spoke with your old teammate Eric Fair about this, was that the ice in San Jose was a bit of an issue and something you guys had to adjust to. It wasn't the best. You made some adjustments between games. Is there anything you remember about that as you guys got ready for Game 4 that you wanted to change? Because I think it is pretty pinpoint what Shears just said, that there wasn't a lot from the overall game attack that you wanted to change.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically, but I do remember that the ice wasn't great. Obviously, it was really hot out, and that probably affected the arena conditions. There was a whole bunch of extra coolers outside with a whole bunch of like huge tubes running in and out of the rink. I do remember that, but if I had to assume what our adjustment was, we probably played more simple and more pucks in, and kind of got a little dirtier.
You just play, right?
Yeah,
probably. Seemed to be the theme throughout. Murray, I wanted to ask you, you guys got the first goal again in game number 4. I talked about how it was, Lovejoy in game 3. Game 4, it's Ian Cole who scores. When you get goals from guys like the Coles of the world, the Lovejoys of the world, who are not necessarily guys that I think you would look at for offense, and they did a lot of other things for that team, but weren't putting pucks in the net. What did that do for you guys as a group to see them get on the board and start the scoring also?
I think it was huge. Those are important guys for us, but obviously, like you said, they're not necessarily guys that score a ton. They're more defensive guys. But at the same time, they're guys that are well liked in the room as well. And I think when a guy like that gets a huge goal, it does more than just put one on the scoreboard. It gives us momentum, it gives us a boost. Guys are feeling really good for those guys. It just brings a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, and I think that's what happened both those times. And I want to say Dumo got a huge goal for us too.
That was a big goal for Dumo in Game 6. When Rusty and Sheary, also, you look at the goals from the defensemen. Ian Cole is a guy who certainly was not going to be shy about talking at any point in his lifetime, or especially during that Stanley Cup final. His mic'd up stuff is phenomenal from that. But do you remember anything that you guys got as far as a jolt from defensemen, specifically in that Game 4, getting another goal playing with the lead?
I think just the fact that, kind of like Murr said, guys who weren't really counted on for offense, who didn't I don't know who didn't score goals all the time, were getting us on the lead and getting us on the board early, and I think that was huge. Guys throughout the entire run were contributing up and down the lineup. No matter your forward, D, offensive guy, defensive guy, everyone was contributing offensively and defensively, and I think that's what made our team that much harder to beat.
It is interesting too, and Conor, we could start with you if all three of you could kind of share your thoughts on this. I know Murray has a little bit of perspective, but when we talk about that Penguins team from 2016, we mentioned the defensemen scoring, but I think a lot of people remember how deep you guys were and how much you got offense from all 4 lines and how hard you were to defend. But your defending in the Stanley Cup final was what really jumped out to a lot of people as that series wore on. I mean, San Jose had 8 shots in the first period of Game 4. They only had 4 in the second period. What were you guys able to do to slow them down? Because they had a pretty potent attack up front. One of your current teammates, Patrick Marleau, a part of it then. But what do you remember about what you guys were able to do to shut them down?
Yeah, I think a common term was a good offense is the best defense. I think we probably just overwhelmed them a little bit with our speed, like we talked about before. And I think when you're controlling the play with the puck and playing in their zone, it's going to be hard for them to get chances. And I think when they did get in our zone, I think there was a total buy-in from every line, no matter whether it was first line or fourth line. I think everyone just bought into playing solid defensively and doing all the little things that you need to do to win at that time of year.
Yeah, I think it was just about we were just playing with so much pace, and I just kind of think it was hard for them to keep up. We were all skating hard together. We were all playing hard together, and then when they did get their chance to go on the offense, I think we had a complete buy-in. Everybody was blocking shots. Everybody was playing defense, playing the right way. And then when they did get a chance or a shot through, I mean, we had so much confidence in Murr to make the save that I think that confidence just kind of was spread throughout the lineup.
Yeah, I would just say our speed was a huge factor. Getting in on the forecheck, and I would say for the most part, we didn't really give them anything off the rush. I remember correctly. We were always on the right side of pucks, and guys were reloading. Guys were getting above the puck, making it hard on them. I think that's the biggest key is just you don't give them any of those freebie chances, and if you give them nothing off the rush, you make them earn every chance that they get, and they're probably not going to get those super high quality grade A chances if we have back. And I think that's probably what I noticed the most was just how much guys were reloading and how committed guys were to playing defense.
Murray, you had, as I mentioned, 12 shots on you through the first two periods. You got 11 in the third, and you knew when you guys were up 2-0 going into the third period after Gino had the power play goal in the second that you were probably going to get San Jose's best push, their most desperation. They don't want to go down 3-1 in the series and especially lose a game on home ice. And I feel like we're bringing up this guy's name a lot, so you have a lot of things to recollect with him when you see him again back at the rink. But Patrick Marleau, early in the third period, gets loose on a breakaway. You make that save. Do you remember anything about that opportunity for him and maybe how big of a stop it was in the grand scheme of things in that game?
Yeah, I remember it, I think. It was kind of a slow developing play, I want to say, and I can't remember who had the puck at the blue line, but they kind of pulled up and just like threw a little soft kind of saucer pass in the middle, and Marleau patty skated onto it. I think he just came in and shot it, if I remember correctly. He didn't do anything like that. So yeah, I guess the timing of it was probably just the biggest thing. If he scores that one, then it's probably a different game. And in that building, every time they scored, they would get a ton of momentum from it, just with the reaction and the energy that it brought. So yeah, I guess the timing of that would have been the biggest thing, just not allowing him to get one, early in the third.
Connor, do you remember that save, if anything, and what it did for you guys early in the third period to see something like that go down and the swing that comes from it?
I can't say I remember that specific save, but I know throughout that game and throughout the whole playoffs, Murray made plenty of big saves at big times, and this was probably no different, where we could build off a big save and we could turn that into momentum our way. And I think that's probably what we did in this situation too.
I think it's been really interesting, guys, getting to talk to a lot of your teammates about this run and hearing the stories from within the games. And one guy we had a chance to talk to is Eric Fair, who scored a pretty big goal in this game to ice it for you late in regulation. And he was very quick to point out that Mike Sullivan made the adjustment to put him up with Nick Bonino and Carl Hagelin and move a certain player off of that line for defensive reasons, is what he told me. But in the grand scheme of things, he gets an opportunity to play on the offensive side of the puck. This is a guy that scored 50 goals in juniors, so we know he has an offensive touch to his game at some point in his career. What goal do for you guys when you look back on game number 4? Eric Fair scoring with just over 2 minutes left. You go up 3-1. It had to have taken a lot of wind out of the sails for San Jose, but what did it do for the Pittsburgh Penguins in that moment?
I think, it was obviously another one of those big goals by another guy who played up and down our lineup. We had so many guys who could kind of be shuffled in from the first to the fourth line and play all sorts of different roles. And he came up with a huge goal for us, and to kind of get that icing on the cake and not end the game, but pretty much seal the game in that situation and have us go up 3-1. I think you kind of see that as a time where it's like, okay, winning this thing is it's just out of our reach. We don't have too much farther. We just got to push that much harder to kind of get that last one.
How quickly did you guys go from one game 4, we're up 3-1, to the mindset turning? And I know you guys are, at this time, now you're all grizzled veterans. You've been down the road. You've been in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You've won big games. But at this moment, you're 1 win away from winning the Stanley Cup for the first time in your career. And as we talked about the first episode, 7 months earlier, you guys were in Northeast Pennsylvania. So a lot has changed in a quick amount of time, and now you have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. Can you take me through how that thought process went from that transition of realizing what situation you were in leading up to game number 5? Anyone who wants to take it, we can kind of roll with that, all three of you.
Yeah, I'll just say, it's similar to what I said before. Just the long waiting period between the games was tough, and knowing that you had a chance to clinch it at home was pretty cool. I think we knew that we hadn't won at home, I think, ever, maybe in Pittsburgh's history.
Yep.
And we weren't able to, but I think the feeling of having that chance was cool. But at the same time, I think throughout this whole playoffs, like we said, we were kind of just playing our game, and we didn't really realize the stage we were on. And I think it was no different in this situation. We obviously knew we were in the Cup final, and that we knew we had a chance to win the Cup, but in our minds, like, what did that mean? We were just kind of playing hockey, and that was really cool for us, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with what you said. I think that was, the first time where we can say if we win one more game, we win the Cup. That was something that kind of hit home, I think, and we had 2 days to think about it, traveling back to Pittsburgh, which probably didn't help. I remember how nervous I was leading up to that game. Just the anticipation and the excitement and the opportunity that was in front of us. So yeah, I think if we had maybe just one day in between games, we would have felt a little bit less nervous. But that extra day kind of just gave us more time to think about it. But yeah, I think we just tried to stay focused and tried to seize the opportunity. Obviously, we couldn't get it done in Game 5, and that was a crazy atmosphere in that game, and I think the nerves maybe got to us in that one, but it was still just an awesome opportunity, and then we went back to San Jose and got it done.
What do you guys remember from that Game 5 situation? I have a couple things that I've learned from talking to your teammates that led the lead up to Game 5, everything in that day. But did you have a lot of people that came to town for that game? I know it's hard to kind of dial into that exact moment when everyone else is probably excited to hopefully celebrate. But were there a lot of people that came and wanted to be a part of what could have potentially happened that night?
Yeah, I think I had a ton of people who either wanted to come to town or did come to town, and I think that whole lead up was just kind of crazy trying to figure that out. It was pretty wild, and then the one thing I really do remember was the drive to the rink on game day. I think it took us like an extra half hour. I think somebody warned us that it was going to take a lot longer because there was people already jam packed in front of the big screen out in front of the rink. So things were going to take a lot longer. And just kind of driving by that and seeing all those people and seeing how fired up the city was about this opportunity, I think was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I was the same way. I had a bunch of people trying to come in, family, grandparents, just kind of hectic time, and you didn't really want to deal with it at that point. You kind of just wanted to play, but everyone just wanted to be a part of it, and that was a pretty cool moment. It's unfortunate that we weren't able to pull it out. My birthday was also the day before Game 5, so something to celebrate in between.
One last thought about Game 5, and then we can move on to happier memories with Game 6. But I understand there was a tradition where Rusty and Tom Kuhnackel would start the soccer game before the team meeting, and you guys were so delayed when you got to the arena, like a 5-10 minute window. Tell that story. Did you get the soccer game in, or are we just blaming that on the bad juju for the rest of the night?
I think we were usually out there for a long time before. I think we've kind of shortened that window a little bit since the guys who go out there. But I think we would usually get out there like 45 minutes, a half hour before a meeting, and we'd play the whole time. And I think we got out there for about 30 seconds, got a couple touches in real quick, and then kind of just ran into the meeting.
So we'll blame that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Fair enough. All right, so let's jump ahead to Game 6. You guys mentioned just the disappointment of not being able to deliver that night and everything that came with Game number 5. But the reality was you had to jump on a plane. We all did the next morning to fly cross country to San Jose. So you go from thinking about a potential celebration, all these people in town, to that cross country trip. How quickly were you guys able to put back and behind you Game number 5 and get set on Game 6? You talked about that delay in days between games. Did that actually help a little bit in the situation that you were able to, have a couple days to get reset and charged, or did it not make a difference? You were ready to move beyond it?
I think kind of our mindset all year was just didn't matter what happened in that game. It was just take your lessons from it, good or bad, and just kind of move on. And I think the extra day in between helped us kind of just get more prepared for Game 6, and I don't think really Game 5 was lingering in anyone's head.
Yeah, I mean, more of the same. I think we were moving past that game. I remember we played really well in that Game 5, and we didn't end up coming out with the win, obviously, but it was just like any other point in the playoffs where we win one or we lose one, we're moving on to the next one, and it's a race to 4 at this point. So we knew we had another chance to close it out when we went back to San Jose, and I think we were excited for that opportunity.
Yeah, I think we were just so dialed in after that. After missing that opportunity, we were just ready to get it done, I think. And I noticed an extra little bit of focus, I think, heading into that game, and we were just so dialed in, and I think Sully said before that game 6 in his speech, he goes, "Enough's enough" or something like that. And yeah, we were able to get it done. So I think missing that opportunity in game 5 just kind of made everybody that much more focused.
So you move on to game 6, and again in game 6 you get the first goal, power play goal, just as we all expected from Dumo, Brian Dumoulin scoring on the man advantage. Game 5, when you guys went down 2-0 in the first period, was the only time in the entire series during actual gameplay that you were chasing the score. I mentioned San Jose winning game 3, but that was an overtime goal, so you never actually trailed in that game. How important was the fact that you guys were able to score first, be playing with the lead in every single game of that series except for game 5? Connor, do you think that was to allowing you guys to play the way you wanted to play right off the hop and not have to chase games and adapt your style and everything that came with that?
Yeah, I'm sure that helped. I don't think our game changed at all, whether we were up or down. I think it might have given us a little boost if we were up in a game, especially in this game, to continue playing that way, and knowing that you have the lead. And I think throughout that whole season, we were unbelievable at the lead after the first or the second period. I forget what the stat was, but I think we were just confident in that situation, and I think our just mindset was just not to change much at all, and just continue to play and try and get the next one.
Rusty, if I were to say to you, there's about 7.5 minutes left in the first period, and Joel Ward gets a breakaway in on Murr, do you remember what happened in that sequence? Am I jogging your memory too much?
I don't remember that sequence, but if I had to guess, Murr probably made another big save. But
actually, Murr didn't have to make the save because Murr, do you know where I'm going with this? Or
I remember this.
Yeah, is that when somebody was it Kunis or something dove and made a nice play?
I feel like Cooney was like 2 zones behind Ward when he started skating. I don't know. I just remember him coming out of nowhere and full out dive, and swiping the puck off his stick. I don't remember the exact play before it, but I remember the instance where he whacked it away.
And those are little things that you guys seem to do all the time. I mean, this is a guy, obviously, Cooney, you look back on his career, he's got 4 cups, a gold medal. I mean, he's done a lot, but in those kind of moments that don't necessarily show up in the score sheet, it seemed like you guys up and down your lineup made plays more often than not in those kind of situations. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like that was something, we talk about the offense, but the timely plays, the smart plays, that was something that trickled across all 4 lines as well?
Yeah, I think it was guys coming up with big plays in big moments, whether it was defensively, offensively, special teams, either PK or PP. I think it was everyone kind of doing those things and making big plays. And I think it was just that level of desperation that we had, and we were always willing to kind of go the extra mile and work that much harder in order to get that play made.
I think what a lot of people remember about the transition from game 5 to 6 is hearing you guys say that you didn't need to change a whole lot from your game from the last 50-ish minutes or so of game number 5 with how you played and how you peppered the Sharks and were on top of them. Martin Jones was obviously really good in that game. You scored on him early in game 6. But in looking back, I don't know how much you guys have watched the replays of these games. You peppered him in game 6. I mean, he was tested time and time again. San Jose only had 4 shots on Matt, a testament to how well you guys played in front of him. But Martin Jones was definitely being tested pretty often in this game, making some big saves. How did you guys, I guess for Connor and Brian, from the offensive perspective, how did you not let any of the recent uptick in his play get in your head and try to become a factor in that series?
I mean, he's a great goalie and obviously a great team over there, so we couldn't get frustrated with what was happening on the scoreboard. We just had to keep playing how we were.
Yeah, I think kind of more on that is I think our ability to get the lead in so many of those games. I think this game 6, the fact that we had the lead kind of gave us a little bit more confidence, and obviously we would have liked to build on that lead and kind of make it 2 or 3, but we still had the lead. We were still playing really well. We were still peppering them, and I think that didn't really faze us.
You guys did have the lead in that game for quite a bit. 13.5 minutes to go in the second period. Logan Couture would score to tie the score at 1. But a hallmark of your team, that whole postseason run, it seemed like, was just the ability to, as you mentioned, not get daunted by anything, have a response. And it took you just over a minute for Sidney Crosby to find Chris Letang, who scored and gave you guys the lead back. Crosby just seemed to make so many plays. I mean, you could recycle that line I just said across any point in his career. But in the Stanley Cup Final in 2016 in particular, we talked about his pass to you, Shears, in that game, goal in game number 1. What do you guys make of some of the plays that he was able to do with the puck on his stick, the edge work? It just seemed like San Jose began the series draped on his back, and by the time he got the puck in game 4, game 5, game 6, they almost were giving him a stick's length because they didn't want to be embarrassed or left in the dust or anything like that.
Yeah, I would just say his game elevates to another level, especially in playoffs. And he's obviously a big moment player. He has been his whole career. I'll fast forward to the end of the game when he blocks a shot and makes the chip pass to the Horny. It's just like plays like that he does so consistently, and it's just fun to watch. I think you're happy that he's on your side and you don't have to chase him around. But he was just huge in that series for us, and obviously helped us in a big way win that Stanley Cup.
Rusty, the shifts seem to really go down time-wise, too, from what I look back on. I mean, you guys went from taking, 45, 55-second shifts to 20, 25, and it was on and off and on and off, and Sully was kind of rotating all 4 lines. I mean, do you remember anything in particular from the gameplay of that third period, or was it, as Matt just said, you were so locked in on shift to shift, just trying to protect this lead and potentially build upon it if you have the opportunity?
I think for us it was, I think we were going out there, and you were always can be a little bit more cautious doing shorter shifts instead of a longer one. I think we were all going out there just kind of playing just 100% as hard as we could for a shorter amount of time. And then when we saw our opportunity to change, we took it. And I don't think anybody wanted to get caught out there aghast and then have something bad happen. So I think everybody was just kind of buying into the team game and just going over the boards when their name was called and just working their bag off and then changing in kind of as fast as they could.
All right, so Connor, you mentioned it earlier. Sid blocks the shot late in regulation, is able to get the puck to Horny. Maybe all 3 of you can share your thoughts in this situation, but we'll start with you, Connor. Patrick Hornquist puts the puck in the empty net. You're up 3-1. I've seen the shots at the bench. You, Connor, had the unfortunate situation of being next to Evgeny Malkin, who did not hold anything back when he celebrated, it seemed like, in these shots, as Rusty knows, getting tackled a couple times by him. But you remember from that moment, I mean, you still have a minute plus left on the clock, but now all of a sudden you're up 2. The way you've been playing, I mean, it looks like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I remember as soon as Horny got the puck, I feel like it was almost like a pause, and it took him like 10 minutes to skate up the ice and put it in. But as soon as he shot it and it went in, I think we just erupted on the bench, and we knew at that point that more than likely we were going to win that game. And then there's always Sully behind the bench calming you down, saying, we still got another shift or something. But in our mind, we were celebrating because it was over in our mind. And yeah, that was just an unbelievable feeling. I just remember I don't know who was next to me, honestly. I just remember my helmet almost falling off. You're losing gloves. It's just, it was mayhem on the bench.
Yeah, I think for me, I had my hand broken about halfway through that third period. And so I had this like really wonky tape job on it. So after the goal that Horny scored during that celebration and then the whole celebration after the game, I was just kind of trying to leave my hand out of the pile so it didn't get crushed and get hurt even worse. I think you can see it when we all come on the ice to kind of dogpile Murr at the end of the game. I got this weird tape job on my first 2 fingers and my hands up high in the air trying to keep it out of everything. But that's just kind of one of the memories I have of that whole last however many minutes.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to, stay focused because I don't remember exactly how much time it was, but there's still like a decent chunk of time left on the clock. So as the goalie, you're not on the bench obviously to celebrate with anybody. So at that point, I was just trying to stay focused as best I could and calm myself down a little bit. And then when the clock ran out, I think once again it was Gino who ended up tackling me, and then the pile started after that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I remember.
Yeah, it was like a WWE clothesline on you, Murr, when he took you down there. What was that dog pile like?
Well, it was like a couple of guys came to me like slowly first. That they were already around me, so they didn't have enough speed to like really tackle me. And then Gino came off the bench and kind of tackled all 3 of us or 4 of us or whatever it was. And that's when my legs just buckled and everybody started piling on top. And yeah, I don't remember anything until I was getting up, looking for air basically. Probably couldn't breathe under there, but yeah, it's a moment that I don't remember all that well, but at the same time, it's one of those moments that I'll never forget because it was just cool. That was not, I only played 15 games that year, and we ended up winning the cup. And then I'm getting tackled by Evgeny Malkin, who's one of the greats. So yeah, something I'll never forget.
So Rusty's got his hand in the air, trying not to do any more damage. Shears, what were you doing in that moment aside from joining the dog pile? I mean, were you even trying to celebrate with anyone, or just jump in and join the fun?
No, I was just trying to jump in. I do remember I struggled big time to get my helmet off. I couldn't get the strap undone. I wanted to throw it so bad, but I just was tearing at my chin strap, and it just wouldn't come off. But other than that, I think I headed for the pile and just kind of jumped on the outside. Sure, Murr was 10 bodies deep under there, but I probably made it a little bit heavier for him.
That's awesome. So one thing that a lot of people who have won the cup before tell me about is that there's that initial celebration of, the dog pile, the hugging, everything that comes that you see on camera. Then there's that delay before the cup itself actually comes out. And it's almost like you forget, this is what they've told me, you forget that part is coming because you're just so excited that you won. And then it's almost a reset of the music, and they bring the cup out with Phil Pritchard and the white gloves, and he puts the cup down, and you guys all get to see it again. Then you realize that you're going to get a chance to lift that thing and celebrate. Did you guys go through a moment like that where you were, kind of in your own little world celebrating, and then realizing, oh wait, there's a whole nother aspect to this that's about to take it to a whole nother level?
Yeah, I think so. I think you definitely you aren't really thinking about the cup itself at first. You're just trying to go around, hugging everybody that you possibly can, and enjoying that moment with your teammates. And then that's when you start to hear the music, like you said, and you see the thing come out, and they got it all shined up, and the lights. It's all it's all bright and reflecting, all the lights and stuff, and yeah, and then everybody gets their turn to lift it, and then you kind of start the party all over again. So again, it's just a super cool moment, the whole way through, and something that you'll never forget. And just it's about sharing it with the guys on the ice, I think. And that's what I'll remember forever.
You guys, you talk about sharing it on the ice with the guys that you're with. I couldn't help but notice the shots of the celebration. It's your Hyatt House crew essentially in like a little semicircle in the neutral zone. What was that like? How surreal was that to all be together, realize what's happening, and you're watching your teammates lift up. You're realizing you're going to get your moment as well. I mean, that had just been I can't even imagine. Probably as surreal as it could possibly be.
Yeah, I remember that being pretty cool. I remember us all sitting around just talking to each other, and being the young guys in the team, we didn't get the cup till last, so we were probably waiting there for like 20, 25 minutes before we even got to touch it after it came out. But we were just, I mean, you can probably see the smiles on all our faces. We were just so happy in that moment, and couldn't wait to get our hands on it.
Do you guys remember the order you handed the cup off in by any chance? Does that come to mind?
I think Rusty gave it to me.
I think maybe I gave it to Rusty.
I think you guys, I think Murr, I was involved with Murr one way or another, I think.
Yeah.
So I looked back at the videotape for this because I wanted to see if there was a connection. So we had Murr, you gave it to Dumo. Dumo gave it to Rusty. And then it went to Sheary, and then to Kuhnhackl, and then Zatkoff at the end of all of it. So
Tishy. Mr. Game One.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to him a little later today. What do you have to say about him? Any good stories from his time on the team?
The best story was you guys definitely remember this. We were all we were celebrating, and like everyone's drinking out of the cup, and Zatkoff starts a Mr. Game One chant in the locker room, and the entire locker room started chanting Mr. Game One. That's just the guy he was. Oh, he was such I don't know, he was just always goofing around, and he was just that kind of guy. He was so funny.
He was always kind of the center of the fun. He was always cracking jokes. I think he had everybody laughing, especially during the soccer game. I think that was hilarious to have him out there during those. So he was just a guy who was just an all around great teammate, great locker room guy.
When you guys obviously had your whole celebration with the cup there, then as you mentioned, you bring it back into the locker room, bring it back to the hotel, spend the night in San Jose. You come back to Pittsburgh. Let's dive into that to wrap things up here. What was that whole celebration like when I remember coming off the plane with you guys? I think we got the salute from the fire trucks with the hoses when we landed. What do you remember about coming back into Pittsburgh, seeing just people so excited, and then the parade and everything that came with that? We can kind of go around to all three of you and share your memories.
I remember the fire trucks was pretty cool. Just a nice gesture from them to acknowledge us, I guess. And there was lots of people that came to the airport too, actually, that were lined up kind of on the other side of the fence. And I remember they all cheered when Sid walked off the plane with the cup, which was really cool. And they were all cheering as we all left in our cars to go home. And the parade was just like out of this world. Just a super cool experience. So many people came down to support us. It was just an awesome day. I still remember it vividly. I took lots of pictures, lots of videos, and just had a great time celebrating with the guys and with the city. So it shows you how passionate the city is about their sports teams, and that was an incredible day for sure.
What about Conor or Bryan? Anything you remember from that whole situation?
Yeah, again, I mean, we were flying cross country, so we had a 5-hour flight with a cup, which was pretty cool. Everyone got, turns to sit with it and take pictures, and that was a happy flight home. And then when we get back, like Murr said, all the people waiting at the airport and the fire trucks with the salute. And then I think me and Murr actually drove back to the Hyatt House together. I remember that, and we were sitting in traffic forever. I remember it was for whatever reason that time of day it was jammed, and then our wives and girlfriends or whatever and families, their plane comes in after ours, and they got a police escort with their bus all the way back in. Everyone thought that they were us, but I do remember the city just being crazy, and everyone was so excited, and it was definitely a cool moment coming back to that.
Yeah, I think it was just the whole excitement around it all, from the plane ride back to the fans at the airport to the next 3 days with all the stuff in the parade. I think there was just so much excitement and buzz around the city. I think it just shows how passionate the fans are and how excited they were, and obviously how happy we were to have won. But I think it showed that the whole city was behind us, and I think that was really awesome to see.
Well said. One last thing for you, and then we will wrap this thing up. We'll do a little wrap around here at the round table for the fans. What did you do with your day with the cup? What was your first day with the cup, first of 2 years in a row? But what did you do in 2016 when you had your day? Rusty, we can start with you and work our way back around.
Got up, played a round of golf with it. That was fun. I don't think I played it very well. I think we played closest to the cup on one of the par threes, and I don't think anybody in the group hit the green. Then after that, at my parents' country club, we had kind of like a little a reception thing where it was come and go, I'll say hi with all my kind of close friends and family, and then at night we rented out a rooftop of a bar, and we just kind of had it up there. We were just hanging out. I think my brother had put on a loop all of our team's goals and then the celebration from the whole cup run. So that was on a big screen out there, and we just hung out and enjoyed it.
What about Conor or Matt? What did you do with your day with the cup in 2016?
I took it to my high school I went to prep school, but my high school is in Massachusetts, so I took it out there. Took it to the rink and stuff, and had people take pictures, and then I brought it back to my hometown. And had another kind of little meeting there, and then somewhere in the afternoon, I made it back to my wife's parents' house. They had a big backyard, so they were able to host the party for me, and I had all my family, all my friends. So I had a ton of people show up, and that's kind of where the celebration of that day was for me.
Yeah, I just remember picking it up from the airport was pretty cool. You got to pick up, the cup keeper, I guess, whoever was in charge of your day, and he brings the cup with you, and it comes out on the on the little luggage conveyor belt. And I remember I just took it out right away. And there was lots of people in the airport too, so I got to share it with some people in the airport. And then I just went to a restaurant. We had a big gathering with all my friends and family, and got to share it with them, and with old coaches and trainers and stuff like that. Anybody who kind of had an influence on me and on my hockey career, I guess, was invited and came out to see it and to share it. So yeah, a really cool day, and that's one of the coolest parts about the cup is that you get to bring it home and share it with the people that mean most to you.
Well, just an awesome time getting to hear these stories and look back with you guys on 2016. Obviously, a year none of us are ever going to forget. I'm sure you guys, especially having won your first Stanley Cup that year. Really can't thank you guys enough for taking the time. It's been fun. Hope you all stay well, stay healthy, and definitely look forward to hopefully seeing you in person and doing these annoying pregame interviews that I get to do with you in the very near future, back before the Penguins get back to action. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, that is Matt Murray, Bryan Rust, and Conor Sheary. I'm Josh Getzoff, and this has been your 2016 Championship Memories, part 2 of a 2-part series as we look back on that 2016 Stanley Cup Championship for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, I'll echo what I said to the players. I hope everyone out there stays safe, stays healthy, and we hope to see you back in a rink in the near future. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Keep it posted on PittsburghPenguins.com for all your latest updates.